What's up guys, this will be a critique of CasperTM's 12.53 average of 5, and the scrambles plus video will be in the description. So for the first solve, it was the simple 3-move cross, nothing much to say about that, except just make sure you're doing D2 double flicks with pinky ring or ring pinky, mostly for my audience. But anyways, first pair is just U, R, U2, R prime, U2, R from R prime, and it's completely fine. However, I do want to note that you can also do U prime, L, U2, L prime, or U prime, R prime, since it's first pair and all the slots are free, and you need this slot to be free to be able to do the solution. I would say this solution is better for this angle, from here, and from here. Just not from here, because you have to do a U2 to AUF into it, and I would just do that, of course, to do it. Now, for the second pair, you rotate it twice, and you should never rotate twice for a pair. Generally, if you're rotating twice for a pair, you don't have to rotate. So for this pair, you can just do R prime, F, U prime, F prime, R, like that. And you rotate it here, and from here you can do L, F prime, U, F, L prime. So it's the same thing. You could finger trick it with the mirror finger trick. I just do L, F prime like that. Middle U, index F, L prime. But you did R, U2, R prime after rotating, and then you rotate again into that. From here, I would just do fat F prime, L, fat F insert, and then you would rotate. You wouldn't have to rotate for this next pair, but you rotate for this pair, and then you have to rotate again. And for the last pair, it was fine. Now, for the OLL, from this angle, I would do double back anti-soon. So R prime, U2, R, U, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, U, R. For OLL, I would do that. And what you did was U into double back soon, which you do have to regrip for, or you have to reload for, so it's not as good. And for like this angle, I would do double soon. So yeah, you kind of have to pick and choose the best algs for this case, which are double back anti-soon and double soon, and not double back soon, because you would have to rotate. Sorry, you would have to reload for it. But anyways, that's what you did. And then you had a G perm, which you did not do a good alg for. You did the wide alg with the large regrip. And for the GA perm, just do the RUD alg like this. R2 U, R prime U, R prime U prime R, U prime, R2 U prime D, R prime U, R, D prime. And all my algs for PLL, OLL, F2L are in the description in my CFOP video. Something like that. Okay, so for the second solve, overall, I'm seeing that you tend to try to turn slower in order to avoid pauses, but you end up pausing anyway, so it isn't really working and you're just wasting time. So how I would recommend doing it is to not think of it as just turning slower, but really to look ahead. What you want to do is to not look at what you're solving while you're solving it, and look at other pieces. So for example, if I have this random F2L case, like if I have just two random pairs, you wouldn't want to be looking at the pair that you're solving, you would want to be looking at the other pair. So for example, if you're solving this pair, you wouldn't be looking at these two pieces, you instead would be looking at where these pieces are, and you see that, oh, it's going to be the triple sexy case. And that's how you would be looking ahead, not just slowing down and still pausing. So yeah, I wouldn't actually recommend turning that much slower than your peak TPS. Anyways, for cross though, you did very interesting solution. So L, U prime, L, I see. So L, U prime, L, F prime, and then U, D prime, F prime, D prime. That's actually pretty good because you ended up preserving the pair. Nothing much to say about the solution here. I would just do U2 prime instead of U2 to insert the pair to avoid a reload, because if you do a U2, you have to reset your right hand for another U-turn, but if you do a U2 prime, you can go right into it like that. And now I would have looked ahead into this pair here, because I know it would be a 5-mover, as and solve this pair with F prime, insert the pair F like that. But what pair did you do? You did a rotation, so U prime Y. Okay, you did the same pair but with a rotation and another rotation. So yeah, never rotate twice for one pair, and honestly, you don't have to rotate for this pair because this 5 mover is just the way to go. From here though, you can either do the same 5 mover, which would look like this from this angle. You can also do R prime U, F, U prime, F prime, R, which is a variant of previous F12 case I showed, which is also really nice. But yeah, you don't have to rotate for this pair twice. For the next pair, okay, you rotated for this pair, you don't actually have to, because you can either just insert with fat F moves, and since you have U2 prime, you can actually regrip for the fat F like that, or you can do a hedge and then insert the pair with R prime U2R like that. Anyways though, you did this into a rotation, and for the last pair you did this insert, and then you had OLL, and then you had a huge pause for PLL, and I assume it's for 2-side PLL recognition. Yeah, okay. Personally, I don't find two-side PLL recognition something I intentionally learn. It's just something that if I do a lot of solves, I'll end up recognizing what PLL it is. For example, like, I don't actually memorize stuff like this, but like the moment I saw this in one of my solves, I just went like, okay, that's an F perm. And of course, this is not something that you would recognize. You wouldn't memorize, okay, these two are opposite, these two are adjacent, blah, blah, blah. You wouldn't memorize this. It just takes a lot of solving. And then when you see this, whatever this is, you'll see that, oh, it's an F perm. But yeah, that's my ideology for 2-side PLL recognition. I suppose you could learn the way you are learning it right now, and it probably would have gone better by now. But yeah, for those watching, I don't actually recommend specifically learning 2-side PLL recognition. Okay, so this was a very interesting solve. Yeah, I can see why you would want to try making an X cross here, but the way you did it doesn't really work. So you did U prime, R prime, F2, and then here you did a huge regrip. I wouldn't do a regrip for this. I would start in home grip by doing water prime, U water with a push U or a drag U. Like, never do this unless your thumb is already on there. And here you inserted this edge, inserted the corner, and then D2. And I just want to say though, from here, you can do U prime L prime UL instead of rotating, because you don't have to rotate for keyhole ever. But yeah, like this solution just doesn't really work that well, because you can do L prime U2L, R prime UR, which is better anyway. So yeah, the X cross solution you're trying to do doesn't really make sense here. And you can solve that by improving your inspection. Like, you wrote bad inspection, right? Well, for a scramble like this, you just want to inspect further into inspection, and don't just be satisfied with a mediocre solution. Try harder. Spend more time. It's okay if you spend more than 15 seconds of inspection. Anyways, you did end up doing something like that. And then the second pair was perfectly fine, yeah. You rotated for this pair, not necessary. You can just do F U F prime and then L prime UL, or you can do F U prime F prime, L prime UL, or you can do from here F U F prime U L prime L prime U prime L. Those three solutions all work really nicely, and yeah, you didn't have to rotate. But you did this, and I like how you didn't rotate here, because that prevented the rotation. However, you ended up rotating anyway. So for this pair, what we did was U prime Y. Yeah, never seen anybody do that. So for this pair, from this angle, you would do RU R prime sledge R prime R prime, or FU R U prime R prime F prime R prime R prime. And from here, you would just do some intuitive 2-gen solution, or you would do this solution. So I recommend doing R2 prime U2 RU R prime U R2 like that. But anyways, you do this very interesting solution, and from here you also don't have to rotate for this pair. You could do that, but I think that's just beyond the point. You can also do that, but that's just besides the point. For the last pair, you did this, and then OLL, you did U2U. So yeah, well, if you're learning two-sided PLL recognition and it's working for you, you would also want to learn two-sided OLL recognition. But yeah, it's just not my ideology. I just learn it by doing enough solves where I'm able to automatically recognize what something is. And yeah, don't do AUF before you actually know what you're doing. So U2U into this OLL. Ah, I see, you're doing the double soon for this one. Well, you should be doing the double soon for this OLL as well. But anyways, you did this into UPerm, and you did the MU UPerm. Okay, next solve. Y2 X prime, D prime, to insert this crossedge, wide L, like that, UL F prime, inserting these two cross edges, and then D2 to align. Now, it's a very good solution. However, so D prime, wide L, here you can actually just do L, and that leaves this pair to be preserved. And what you can do is either UL F L prime, and then D2 insert the pair, or you can D2 insert that, and then insert the cross edge, and then you can cancel into this pair, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's just more you can do with it anyway. The thing is, though, you could have done the back left slot instead. You actually had you had the same pair. You had this pair, and you had this pair, and it would end up in the same thing. But since generally solving left slots is a priority, you would do this. But you did this, which is fine. And then for this pair, you did a very interesting solution that's 2-gen spammy. I would do L, F prime, L prime, F, just a lefty sledge, and then insert the pair, since this slot is empty, like that. Or you can just do lefty anti-soon, and then insert the pair. Or you can just do L2, U2, L prime, U prime, L, U prime, L2. I find those faster than lefty 2-gen spam. Anyways, though, you did this interesting solution, L prime UL. Oh, and to expand on this, you can actually do something interesting with what you did. So L prime U, L2, U prime L prime would actually pair the pair up. But that said, I wouldn't actually play with that. I could just do lefty sledge and then insert the pair, which would be the best way to do it. Now, you did this, and then for the next pair, okay, again, same cases, just mirrored. And I would pick the lefty one first. And that's what you did. Except you did L prime UL, U prime L prime UL after rotation. And you can actually do this without rotating at all. So yeah, rule of thumb. If you need to rotate twice, it means you don't have to rotate at all. So R, F, U, F prime, R prime would solve it. Or you can do wide R, F, U, F prime, wide R prime. Depends on the situation. Or once you have rotated, you can just do F, L, U, L prime, F prime, which is just a mirror. And in this case, you can do F2 gen F prime by solving this pair with RU R prime to pair it up, and then F prime. That said, though, what we did was this, and then for the last pair, you rotated, which is fine. Just note that you could also do an intuitive solution from this angle with F prime, L prime, UL, U prime, L prime, U2L, F, which is very good for EO. So, anyways, you did this, and then J perm, OLL J perm. So yeah, that's it. For the last solve, you did a very interesting cross solution. So U prime, and then rotate D. Finger trick wise, though, I would recommend doing something like starting in home grip, doing F prime like that. Anyways, though, you did this, R prime D, L, U, L, F prime. Now that's a very interesting cross solution, but it's just very long and it doesn't work that well for terms of cross plus 1. And what you want to be doing is probably something more intuitive like D prime, L prime, that pairs up, well, not pairs up, that puts these two into relation, and then you can do R, D prime, F, R. And then here you can actually just either cancel into this pair or do the other pair. And here doing the other pair does work since it keeps this situation where you can insert and pair this pair up like that. Or if you want to be extra woke, you can do that, I guess. Anyways, enough of that solution. It's X prime, U prime, D, R prime, D, L, U, L, F prime. For the first pair, you did the front right slot, and the front right slot is the last slot you would want to be filling. You would want to be filling the back left and the back right slots first for first pair, and you could have done this pair with sledge insert, or from here, this solution, which is 7 moves, and yeah, you can also do this pair for the front left, which can be done in 5 moves. Y2 prime, U prime, F2, U, Y2. And this is one of those cases that works well for every slot. For the front right slot, you can do R2, YG, R2 prime, YG prime, R2. Like that. And then for the front left slot, I already showed. For the back right slot, you can do R2 prime, D prime, F2, D, R2. Like that. And then for the back left slot, you can do Y2, U, B2, U prime, Y2 prime. Anyways, what you did was this pair for the first pair. And here you can actually do a multi-slot by doing R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U prime, R, 2 prime, U prime, R. But that aside, you just inserted this pair. And for this pair, you did a rotation. Now, for this pair, you don't have to rotate. You can just do the 7 mover I have mentioned before. But you did this the same method that you've done before, which is just separate it like this and then do this case. Now, that's not a really good way to do it because from here you can do the 2-gen solutions. But after rotating to here, you can do L prime U L, U, S prime L, S, since this slot is empty. And basically what you're doing is just inserting the corner, setting up to this case, like that. Anyways, you did this, and then rotate, and then you regrip for this pair, which I wouldn't really do. You can also do R prime F, R prime F prime R2 to solve this pair, which is also regripless, but you did this. I would just do the same solution, but without regripping, so perhaps like that. Or you can do the Jaden McNeil finger trick, like that. I find it doesn't actually save much time, so I would probably just do something like this if I were to do that solution. Now for the last pair, rotate it twice again, and yeah, if you're rotating more than once, it's a sign you don't have to rotate at all, because you can just do U2 prime, pair it up like that, and then insert. So you rotated here, and then rotate it again. For the last pair, I would have done EO by doing F prime, U prime, F, and then doing sledge. So this is one of those cases where you can just figure out your EOs. There's also this solution, which does the EO for this case, and then there's this one, which does the EO for this case. It just depends on where the edge that is unoriented is, and you want to be inserting it into the slot like that, which would give you all your edges oriented. Now for this OLL, you had it from this angle, and I would just do F double inverse X F prime for this angle. But you did a U2 into this, and you regripped into this finger trick for it. So for this OLL, if I were to do the second alg, which is good for this angle, you would execute it like push F, and then regrip for the double XC during the push F, like that. Doing this is fine, but the problem is you would have to reload. And of course, doing middle finger just doesn't really work here. So the finger trick for this OLL would be fat F, double XC like that. And it, of course, also applies to this OLL. So if you were to do this alg, you would not do that finger trick. You would do the push, fat F, and then double XC F prime. And it just works out really well. Now for the PLL, it's fine. just UA perm U prime. So this will just be a summary of what you should be doing. So cross efficiency, of course. You need to plan better cross solutions as well. And there is this really nice cross plus one tool made by Christian Vaughn that you can find in the description below. Basically, it just gives you scrambles for an X number of moves that it takes to solve the cross. And if you're taking more than the moves that it says, then you're not efficient. Anyways, that's it for the cross efficiency tips. For F2L rotations and regrips, you tend to regrip for this and this sometimes, and sometimes it's okay. Like for example, if you're already here, then it's okay to do that. And for the back, sometimes it's okay to regrip, like for maybe this one or like this one, it's okay to regrip. But most of the time, when you just have like a free pair like this, you would want to insert with a drag or a push, so you don't want to be regripping that much. And you tend to rotate twice for a single pair a lot of the time. And when that happens, just remember that the rule of thumb is if you need to rotate twice, then you don't actually need to rotate at all. Now, for your look ahead, this is a very important one because I feel like it will make a big difference for your solving. So I see that you have the ability to turn much faster than you're actually turning right now. And yeah, turning slower to look ahead, it doesn't actually make you faster. What you should be doing is instead of thinking of just turning slower, you should be thinking of solving the pair that you aren't solving while you're solving it. So let's just scramble F2L and give a very random solution. So like, for example, okay, if I'm just going to start with my back left pair, I will insert the pair and not look at it, look at any other pair. So I could be looking at this one, I could be looking at this one, though I probably shouldn't be. But this one makes the most sense to be looking at, so I'll just be inserting this pair, and then here I see that inserting this pair will break up this pair into this case, so it would go right into rotating into that. And then while pairing this pair up, I look at what case is going to be. Okay, I see that doing L would move into this case, and U2L will keep in that case, so it would go right into it. And you can do all of this without slowing down much of your turning. And the way you're looking ahead, it seems to me that you're just turning slower and still looking at the pair you're solving while you're solving it. And instead, you can turn at the same speed, but with a different mindset, and that mindset is to just not look at what you're solving while you're solving it. Now for your OLL and PLL optimizations, you want to be using nicer algs. Like for the example, you could be doing this, could be doing that. And okay, that's a joke because you wouldn't want to do a U2 AUF into a U prime AUF for the RUS U perm. Only do it for this angle, and if it skips AUF, you would just do that. So yeah, for your OLL and PLL optimizations, I recommend watching my OLL and PLL videos, and as well as my CFOT video, which just includes those two videos, but with all my last lot F2L cases. So yeah, that's basically it for this critique video. Thanks for watching.